The marina incident. All right, buckle up, because this is one of those stories you can shake your head at long after it's over. A few weeks back, something wild went down at the Harbor View Marina, an incident that involved an oversized sense of entitlement, a stolen set of yacht keys, and, well, yours truly, the police chief. Trust me when I say, this isn't one you'll forget anytime soon. I love what I do. Leading the men and women of the Ridgeview Police Department is one of the greatest honors of my life. I wouldn't trade this job for anything in the world. But even police chiefs need time to recharge. A day to kick back, take a breath, and enjoy life a little. That's why I set aside my Saturday mornings whenever I can to spend time down at the marina. I've been looking forward to this weekend in particular. The weather was perfect, clear skies, a light breeze off the bay. My pride and joy, the silver horizon, sat gleaming in her slip, a testament to years of hard work and a dream fulfilled. She's a beauty, 38 feet of elegance and muscle, something I'd worked toward for most of my career. That morning, I was down on the starboard side, polishing the hull until it gleamed. The sun caught the surface just right, making the yacht shine like a jewel in the water. I just finished waxing the last panel when I decided it was time to head below deck and grab myself a cold drink. As always, I secured the main cabin door behind me. Standard practice. Old habits die hard, especially when you've spent decades thinking like a cop. I spent the next hour relaxing inside, sipping iced tea and occasionally popping up topside to wave at familiar faces. It's a small town. Being the police chief means you know everyone, or at least they know you. I was just about to head back up when something caught my attention. The salon door was cracked open. I never leave it that way. I always secure it, even if I'm just below deck. My stomach clenched. Instinct kicked in. I moved slowly, carefully up the stairs, quiet as a whisper. And that's when I saw her. There she was, Tessa Langford. She was standing on the deck, rummaging through my toolbox like she owned the place. Tessa wasn't a stranger. Far from it. She was the wife of Charles Langford, one of Ridgeview's wealthiest businessmen. And she was infamous around town for her attitude. One of those people who acted like the world owed her something and that everyone else was just background noise in her personal drama. She had this wild look on her face, a mix of desperation and thrill, like she was getting away with something. But she wasn't. Not today. Tessa, I said, my voice steady but firm. What exactly do you think you're doing? She jumped like she'd been hit by a live wire, her eyes wide. For a second, she was speechless. But then she slipped into a mask of fake innocence faster than I'd ever seen. Oh, Chief Brooks, I was just admiring your boat. It's so impressive. Her voice oozed forced sweetness, and it made my teeth hurt. I raised an eyebrow, admiring it with your hands inside my toolbox. I wasn't. I thought I saw something shiny, she stammered. Maybe a piece of jewelry? You know, Good Samaritan stuff. She was lying. I could smell it. But I decided to play along. For now. Really, I said, what did this shiny object look like? She blinked. It was gold. And sparkly. I chuckled, stepping closer. Gold and sparkly. Sounds valuable. Did you find it? Her gaze dropped to her hand, the one clutching my yacht keys. And in that moment, I could see the wheels turning in her head as she tried to come up with an exit plan. But the gears were grinding and nothing was coming together. No, she said quickly. I didn't. I must have been mistaken. Anyway, I was just about to leave. She turned to go, but I stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Tessa, I said, pointing to the keys. Are those mine? Her face drained of color. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked like a deer caught in headlights. I could see it, the moment she realized sweet talking wasn't going to cut it. And that's when the shift happened. Her expression hardened, her eyes narrowing into something sharp and ugly. She went nuclear. Suddenly, she started yelling. He's trying to rob me. He's attacking me. Before I could react, she yanked out her phone and started dialing 911. 911. What's your emergency? The operator answered. Tessa's voice trembled, but it was laced with venom. I'm at Harbor View Marina. There's a black man trying to steal my property. He's being aggressive. I need help now. I froze for a second. The audacity of it was breathtaking. It was a masterclass in weaponizing privilege, turning the system against me, a black man, despite everything I had achieved, despite the badge I carried. But I wasn't about to let this spiral. I took out my own phone and hit record. The operator kept asking questions. Tessa went on describing me, tall, black, wearing a navy shirt and jeans, clutching my own keys in her hand, claiming they were hers. She rattled off the dock number, the name of my yacht, her voice thick with false distress. And then she smirked. That arrogant, smug little smirk that said she believed she'd already won, that she thought her word, her status, and her skin color were enough to ruin me. But she was wrong. The operator asked if she was in immediate danger. Yes. Tessa gasped dramatically. He's blocking my way. He won't let me leave. She ended the call with a fake sob, then turned to me with a look of pure malice. You're going to regret this, she hissed. You have no idea who you're messing with. I said nothing. I didn't have to. I knew backup was coming, and I knew they'd recognize me. The sirens wailed in the distance. I could feel people at the marina watching us now, some curious, others concerned. I stood there silently, focusing on my breathing. I wasn't going to give her anything that could be used against me. The first cruiser pulled up fast. Officers Grant and Lopez jumped out. I'd known them both for years. Good officers. Fair. They approached carefully. Ma'am, Officer Grant said, we received a call about an incident. Can you tell us what happened? Tessa launched into her performance again, tears and all. This man tried to steal my keys. He was on my boat. He wouldn't let me leave. Officer Grant turned to me. Sir, I kept my voice even. Officers, I'm Chief Brooks. I own the Silver Horizon. This woman was trespassing on my property. She took my keys and then called 911 to falsely accuse me of stealing. I paused, then added, there are security cameras on board. The footage will confirm everything I've said. I could see the flicker of realization in their eyes. I pulled out my badge, holding it up. Both officers stiffened. Chief Brooks, Officer Lopez said, we didn't realize. It's fine, I said. You're doing your job. They turned back to Tessa, who was now visibly panicking. Ma'am, Officer Grant said, his tone turning cold. You accused this man of stealing. Can you explain why you had his keys in your possession? She stammered, grasping for words, but none came. Chief, Lopez said, would you mind showing us the footage? Not at all, I replied, leading them below deck. The footage was crystal clear. Tessa sneaking aboard, rifling through my things, pocketing the keys. The officers watched in silence. When it ended, they turned to her. Ma'am, Officer Grant said, this evidence clearly contradicts your statement. You knowingly filed a false police report, trespassed on private property, and attempted theft. Tessa broke down, sobbing. It was just a joke. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was trying to impress some friends. Officer Lopez cut her off. You'll have to explain that at the station. Tessa begged. Please. My husband knows the mayor. You don't know who I am. Neither officer flinched. We know exactly who you are, Grant said as he cuffed her. You're under arrest. As they led her away, she screamed promises of revenge, her voice echoing across the water. A crowd had gathered by then. Among them was Mrs. Delaney, a retired teacher who ran the local community center. She stepped forward, voice loud and clear. For years you've acted like you were better than the rest of us, she said. And now look at you. Others chimed in, scolding her as she was taken to the patrol car. I watched her go, feeling a complicated mix of relief and sadness. Sadness that someone could be so entitled, so hateful, that they'd weaponize the system to ruin another person. In the days that followed, the story spread like wildfire. Tessa Langford, once the toast of Ridgeview, became a pariah. Her husband stepped down from the town council. Friends distanced themselves. She was charged with filing a false report, attempted theft, and hate crimes. Weeks later, I received a letter, an apology full of excuses, stress, misunderstanding, pressure. It wasn't convincing. Tessa was convicted. She got a suspended sentence, a hefty fine, and was ordered to do community service at Mrs. Delaney's center. But this story isn't really about her. It's about the power of community, about standing up to prejudice, demanding accountability, and making sure everyone gets treated fairly. And as police chief, that's something I'll keep fighting for every single day.